Alex, let me go to you as far as a secure facility, a safe facility. How does that impact liability and insurance claims? Why
Um,
is it so critical? Go
sure.
ahead.
So touching on the last question, each state is going to have a different statute of limitations, which allows folks a certain amount of time to essentially sue you. So if they slip and fall in your laundromat and hurt themselves, it could be a year or more, and it depends on the state before they actually, file a lawsuit. So maybe they slip and fall and they hit their head. 6 months down the road, they go in because they're having a lot of headaches and they go, oh, well, I did slip and fall in that. So, things like that do happen. So as far as saving your camera footage, um, I recommend at least a year, possibly even more. If you do have an incident, obviously the idea would be if you know of someone being injured, you can save just that video.
Mhm.
Um, but storing footage is important. Um, and then besides that, having a secure facilities, central burglar alarm, monitored by like an ADT is huge. It can be
Mhm.
the difference of having theft coverage for the laundromat or not. Insurance carriers are looking at crime scores, which is essentially just a crime score that your laundromat gets for based on what area it's located in.
Mhm.
Um, and so having a secure facility as far as central service burglar alarms, essentially a central service burglar alarm would notify the police and then you second of
Mhm.
anything happening. If you have a 24-hour store and you have attendants on duty, for all 24 hours, for those overnight hours, it's important if you can, with your central service burglar alarm, you can actually provide the employees with panic buttons.
Mhm.
So if anything happens in the middle of the night, they're able to essentially go hit a button on the alarm, and it'll notify the police department that there's an issue. You can also actually have them, where they have those alarms in their pockets or on their person.
Mhm.
And so those are huge too, especially with carriers really coming, they're as little as 2 years ago, it was a lot easier to write insurance for a 24-hour store if it was fully attended.
Mhm.
Now insurance carriers here 24 hours and they don't really care if it's attended or not. They just don't want to quote it. I think alarm systems are huge. And obviously,
Mhm.
if you're open 24 hours, you're never closed. So it doesn't make that much sense to have the burglar alarm. But I think just for the technology of your employees having a button they can press and quickly alert the police that there's an issue. And then also, securing office space where you keep money, things like that, is also big for insurance purposes and also keeping a secure facility.
Mhm. Great. Great stuff. Let me stay with you, Alex, and just ask what types of insurance coverage are most critical for laundry owners? What
Um,
just as a checklist so people know what should they be looking at? What should they have to be covered?
so you definitely want liability and property insurance. Liability is going to cover you if you are sued for negligence in the event of a slip and fall or something like that. And most, landlords are going to require that. Property insurance for the equipment. Um, And then business interruption insurance, if you do have a claim that forces you to close your doors, you want to make sure you're able to replace that revenue, which will enable you to keep paying your good employees while you're out of business. Also keep paying the bills, keep paying the rent. So business interruption, and then there's a lot of different ways insurance companies insure business interruption. The best would be 12 months time limit, essentially, and we can usually
Mhm.
get that extended to 15 months. Backup of sewer and drain is going to be a big one. Um, and equipment breakdown, anything, you know, and then I will say separating business personal property, which is going to cover your equipment from investment into the lease space, or if you own your property,
Okay.
you want to make sure as you invest into your laundromat, that you're adding that coverage to the property limit. So if you lease your space, it's going to be called leasehold improvements or tenants improvements and betterments. That's
Mhm.
going to essentially, in the event of a total loss, cover the build out of your store again, to get it to that point where you're ready to install the new equipment.
Mhm.
Um, and then obviously, if you're investing significantly into upgrades to the laundromat, you want to make sure you're increasing those building limits if you own your building,
Mhm.
to be able to restore not only the structure itself, but the inside of the laundromat.
Great. Well, that was very succinct. You had that going. So thanks, Alex.
Workers' comp too, if you have employees, that's also a big one. I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, and that'll cover obviously if your employees are injured on the job.
Mhm.
So that's also very important.